Hello and welcome to the fourth video to help you with the festival project while we're not in the actual school building. So far in this festival project, you have researched existing festivals. You've looked at festivals that happen in Middlesbrough and Redcar and Cleveland, and hopefully you've looked at some that happen in other parts of the country, some bigger ones as well, like Glastonbury and Leeds. You've taken some ideas from that, and you've planned what should be happening at your festival. So what music, food, other events and performers that might happen. And the last part of the project was to look at a logo, and you looked at some other logos, and then you created two and chose a logo for your festival. Before we start on what we're going to learn today, what I would like you to do is to go onto Google Classroom, to go to the festival assessment, and it should look something like what's in your screen now. You should have your document, your work here, you should have your presentation there, and some YouTube videos. Now, you might have some private comments here from your teacher, because at the end of the last lesson, the end of the logo lesson, you self-assessed your work and you submitted it or handed it in or asked your teacher to assess it. Now, if they've had time, if they've assessed it so far, you will have some comments here of how to improve what you've done so far. So before we start today's lesson, I'd like you to pause this video and to work on those comments if you've got any there. Now you've done that, we're going to look at today's lesson, and what we're going to be looking at today is letter writing. We're going to be looking at writing letters to people who might need some information about our festival. So the objectives, what we're going to do today are: one, identify the features of a formal letter. So how do we write a formal letter? Now, I know most of you have probably written text messages and emails to people, but you might not have ever written a proper formal letter, like applying for a job or writing to a bank. Now, you might think, oh, what's the point of doing this? However, there will be a time in the next couple of years where you might want to apply for a job. You might have work experience to apply for or a college place to apply for. So knowing how to lay out a letter, knowing how they should look, is a really key part of your education. And we're going to learn how to use the features of a word processor of Google Docs to write a formal letter. So look at the different features it has and the tools it has to help you write a really good letter. Now, here is an example of a formal, well-written letter. And I want to talk you through the layout. Now, up here on the right-hand side, you've got your address, the address of the person writing the letter. So this person obviously lives in Devon. You've got the date of when the letter was written. You've got who the letter is going to, so the address of the person you're sending the letter to. You've got the greeting line, dear sir or madam, or if you know the person, dear Mr. Day, dear Mrs. Wilkinson. Right, you've got the bit here, which is the actual letter, your main text of the letter, and that would be done in paragraphs. And at the end, you've got your signature and you're signing off. Now, if you don't know who you're writing to, so you put dear sir or madam, you always sign off a letter, yours faithfully. If you do know it, so you've put dear Mr. Day, you would write yours sincerely. So we've got how to put the formal letter there. Now, your first task is to label a formal letter. So to do that, if we go into your festival project on Google Classroom, open up your Google Docs to look like this. Right, the first task is labeling a letter. So labeling one that is already here. So if you can use the links on the left-hand side when in a minute, when they appear to get to your letter. Right, or if I just scroll down, there we go. So topic 3, letters. If I click there, it will take me to topic 3. Here, if I double click on this image, I can then move the text boxes around to label my letter. So if I got my main text here, if I click on main text and highlight it, I can move it and show that this bit here is my main text. As you can see in this letter, each paragraph has got a line in between it as well. And then you can save and close and do that. So can you pause the video for me and complete that first task? Right, so you should have labelled a formal letter and be able to say where things are. So again, if we just quickly go back here, right, you've got the formal letter there. So you've labelled the sender's address, the address who it's going to, the date, the greeting line, the main text, and the signature at the bottom. What we're going to do next is we're going to write 2 formal letters about your festival. Now, the first letter is going to go to the local council. So if you're planning it at Redcar and Cleveland, you might write to Redcar and Cleveland Council. If you're planning it for Middlesbrough, you might write to Middlesbrough Council. And in this letter, you're going to ask permission to use the land. So you might want to use Stewart's Park or Redcar Beach for your festival. So you're going to ask them for permission. You're going to say when your festival will be so that you can see if they can give it to you for that point, and address any concerns. So how will the site be left afterwards? Will it be noisy? How many people might be going to your festival? The second letter is to try and get some sponsorship from a local business, right? So you might write to a music shop, or you might write to a local newsagent or a local business in your area. You're going to say when the festival will be. You describe your audience, because your audience needs to be their customers. Otherwise, why would they sponsor it? And you're going to explain the benefits of sponsoring your festival. So what are the benefits of sponsoring a festival to the business? So it might be you're going to put their logos and name on all the advertising you do, so they get that advertising for it. They might have a stall or might have certain slots at the festival that they can say certain things. So why should they do that? Now, to write the letters, we're going to use Google Docs. And this is a bit of new stuff, so just watch really carefully of how I do this. So, on your festival project, right up here we've got your work, and at the moment it's just one document, but what we can do is we can add or create. So if you've got documents to upload, you can do, what we're going to do is we're going to add a doc. So Google Docs, the blue one there, and what that does, it loads up or creates a brand new Google Docs, and when it finishes creating, we can then click on it and it will load up a blank word processor, a blank letter writing thing that we can write our letter on. It looks like this, right? So here we've got the main bit of the word bit, and we've got here different tools and formatting things that we can do. So if you remember when we looked at the formal letter, we put our address on the right hand side. Now to do that, we're going to use these alignment tools. And if I click on that one there, align right, you'll see that my cursor goes to that side. And when I start typing, right, I can start putting in my address, Scunthorpe Academy, if I spell properly, Middlesbrough, TS70LA. I can write in today's date, so it's the 30th of March 2020. And then if I click back on align left or left align, the cursor goes to that side and I can start writing the address of the people that I'm writing to. So Middlesbrough County or Middlesbrough Council, and wherever they're based, Middlesbrough. I can then put in the greeting line, so dear sir or madam, I am writing to you, ask permission to hold a festival at Stewart's Park, right? Or wherever you want to hold. So you can now write the letter and put in different paragraphs. There are other little things that you can do, right? Up here, you can, if you wanted to, insert a picture. You might want to insert your logo. So if you've saved your logo on your computer, if you go to insert image, you can upload it from the computer, right? Or you can just copy and paste it in and paste it up. I would put the logo up here, or you might put it at the bottom of your letter. Again, you put your logo on there, you're advertising your festival as you go along. Up here, you can name your letter. So I'm going to name it Letter to Council. And once you've finished writing your letter, if you close it down, right, you don't have to save it, because again, when I click back there, hopefully it loads up what I've done and you can see that it saves it all automatically for you. So what I want you to do, you need to create 2 letters. Now on your booklet, it has got what you need to do there. It's got a little bit of help. So you need to write the 2 letters, one to the local council, right, and one to a business asking for sponsorship. That's what you need. That's the task for the next week or next couple of weeks to get those letters done. Thank you very much for listening. If you've got any questions, please email your teacher, put a comment on Google Classroom, and your teacher will get back to you as soon as they can.